My life has not been the same since all of this has happened. I didn't have a clue that it would be in the front page of the LA Times for many days. And then it ended up being a podcast with over 40 million viewers. I had no idea it would be this big. After John died, we went to the crematorium to cremate John's body, and I filmed it so that I could have closure. I felt like that was the final step to having John gone. As I was watching the box go into the fire, I couldn't help but think that he was going to be burning in hell. He put me through hell, he put my family through hell, and he's probably in hell.
This is Sean in the hospital bed. After the incident, I'm just so thankful I can't see his eyes here. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that picture, I still feel guilty of killing him. Even though I know what I did was right, but I still took another person's life.
I was a single woman. I'd raised 4 kids, and I was out on my own. They had moved out. They were in their 20s and 30s, so my nights were free. I had been somewhat unlucky in love, and so I was going to take a chance and join a dating website. When I saw John's profile, he was in the medical field. He was very handsome, and we decided to go on a date. John seemed to be very interested in my life, which I liked. Everything he said was like perfect in my eyes.
I did a lot of traveling overseas with Doctors Without Borders.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
He'd been divorced 16 years, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's a long time to be divorced without jumping back in.
I made a mistake once. It took me forever to get over it.
John made me feel very desired, and so that was why it was so easy to get lured in.
I just wanted to be with the right person, and I'm glad I waited.
This type of person gets in your head, knows what to say. It was just this gift that he had. A sick gift. Well, this was a picture of John. One of the first pictures he ever sent me. Looking at it now, I find it sad. I can't do this. Sorry. What a waste of a person. And he affected way too many lives. Sorry. It's hard talking about it so much. You think you've completely moved on and you're great, and then it brings back all these memories of the hell you went through. On our first date, I think we closed down the restaurant. He said, why don't we go back and I'll make you a cup of coffee before your drive back. And so I invited him up. I ran to the restroom. When I came back from the restroom, he was laying on my bed. And I said, no, get off. We're not ending up here. I said, we've had a perfect night. Don't do this. And he goes, what's wrong with it? And I said, well, because I don't want to go there yet. And he kept laying there and said, it feels so good. You have no idea how good your bed feels. And he kept making comments, this feels so good. Thinking it's just a mattress, who cares? I didn't realize at the time he had a secret. He met me. The last time was 3 days before I met him. That's why the bed felt so good to him. He'd just gotten out of jail. And in hindsight, if I would have known who this person was, I would have never dated the guy. But I didn't realize that. And finally I said, no, you're not staying, you have to leave. And he left. The next day he calls. And he apologizes for jumping on the bed. He just didn't want it to end, and he was very attracted to me, and he says that it's completely his fault and that he wanted a second chance. I was hesitant, but he pleaded with me, and I finally said, yes, I'll give you a second chance. The next few dates, he was a complete gentleman and would just kiss me goodbye and leave. And so he learned his lesson. John wore scrubs a lot, and back then I didn't think a lot of it because I thought he was going to work. But there were times when he would show up in scrubs and they were dirty. So this photo is a charity event in the beginning when John and I had just started going out. And he was really late, I remember. So he pulled up late in scrubs. And I'm thinking, okay. And he said he had no time to go home and change at his place because it was too far away from where the hospital was. If you're in surgery and it's running over because there's complications and you don't have time to change and you're trying to get there, I didn't question it. I mean, I looked at it as odd, but at the end of the day, he always had the best excuses. We had our picture taken with his scrubs on. But looking back now, it was a complete act. It's how he lured women in and tried to look like this great, successful man. And they were obviously old. He had been using these scrubs for years to con women or to go into hospitals. I think back to how many times he tried to fool me by having his scrubs on and how many other women he fooled doing this to. I still get calls every day about it. Just yesterday, I had a call from a woman that he had dated right before me, that she thought the same thing. She actually thought in a way to lure women in. With John, things were moving very quickly after our first date, and he treated me so well. I was loving every minute of it. It felt so great.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hey, Mom.
It was a few days before Thanksgiving, and Tara was coming out to help me with a dinner for Thanksgiving. I was very excited for John to meet Tara, and Tara to meet John. I thought they would get along really well.
John, Tara's here. Come and say hello. How are you doing, sweetie?
I'm good, Mom. She said that John was very charming. She said that he was a doctor, and she was so happy about that.
I am so excited for you to meet him.
I know. I can't wait. He sounds perfect. If my mom was so in love with him and thought that this was her guy and her perfect guy, I wanted to get to know him.
Hey there.
Hi, John. It's so nice to meet you. I wanted John to be nice and comforting and endearing, but instead, when I met him, he was kind of cold cold and standoffish.
Why don't we all take a seat?
Usually, if someone has kids and they're dating your mom, then that's what they talk about most of the time because they want you to know, like, they have kids and they care about them.
So, Dawn, I hear you've got daughters of your own.
Yeah.
But John didn't talk a lot about his family. My mom, however, would talk a lot about his daughters and how he was such a good dad.
John is such an incredible father, and his daughters are all so beautiful, aren't they, John?
Something was fishy to me about that because she never met them. And if this guy was so close to his kids, why wouldn't you meet them?
Do you have any pictures of them?
No, not on me.
Oh.
John and Tara did not hit it off like I had imagined. He was a little bit aloof. I didn't know what was going on, but prior to John, my kids have been very protective, and they always felt I deserved the best.
Why don't you bring your things upstairs and get settled in?
And so I'm thinking to myself, here we go again. They don't like a guy because I'm falling for him.
Tara, stay out of it.
I screamed back at him, and I screamed at my mom. You should have protected me against John as a mother. The day before Thanksgiving, I went to Newport to spend Thanksgiving with my mom. I found out things were more serious than I was led on to believe. My mom said that John was not moving in with her, but I walk into the bathroom. I notice his men's grooming bag there. Then I notice there's a toothbrush, there's his aftershave, and there's stuff of his in the home like he would be living there and not as a guest. As I'm walking through the house and I'm just seeing his stuff everywhere, I'm getting so angry because I'm being told that he's not living there, and I'm being very suspicious of what she said to me. And then I opened the closet of the room that I was staying in to put my suitcase in the closet, and I realized that there wasn't room in the closet because his stuff was just everywhere. There was a box there filled to the brim, a little bit overflowing, but right on top was a nursing certificate. I was told that John was an anesthesiologist, and I was mad that I was getting lied to, so I confronted her.
Mom, what the hell is his stuff doing all over the place?
Tara had gotten very, very upset and was yelling at John and telling him, what are you doing with things in my mom's house? And yelling at me.
Did he move in here?
Yes, honey, I meant
I
to
can't
tell
believe you. Are you crazy, Mom? You don't know anything about this guy.
Don't you dare yell at your mother like that.
What are his diplomas? He's not an anesthesiologist.
What the hell is this?
Something's wrong with this guy, and she's yelling. She's very upset.
He's been lying to you. He's not a doctor. He's a nurse.
Well, I'm sure there's a reasonable...
Tara, you stay out of it.
He comes in accusing me of snooping through his things. He told me that I didn't want to see my mom happy, that I just wanted her for all myself.
If you were my daughter, I'd smack the hell out of you.
Seriously? You're gonna let him talk to me like that?
I screamed back at him, and I screamed at my mom too because I couldn't believe that she was allowing him to speak to me like this.
I don't know what's wrong with you that you can't see that.
She felt that John was lying about his life and that she could see right through him. And why can't I see it? I told her it's my life and I can make decisions on my own. I'm an adult and she needs to respect me.
That was completely out of line.
I told her I don't know what
Staying in the house with him here.
No one is forcing you to stay.
She never stopped me. It just hurts because that would have been the first moment that she should have protected me against John as a mother.
You're choosing him over your own daughter?
After Tara left,
Fine.
I asked John about the certificate, And his reply to me was he was a nurse anesthetist opposed to an anesthesiologist, but they basically do the same thing. So I didn't think anything of it. I just thought that she was making a big deal over nothing.
After the fight, I went to my sister's, and Jacqueline and I were discussing that something is terribly off with this guy, that this guy is evil.
There's something seriously off about him. I thought the same thing when I met him.
And that's when there was a string of text messages that came in from my mom's phone.
Oh my God. What?
Saying that my sister should jump off a building head first would be preferably, and telling my sister to end her life.
What the hell?
Let me see. Jackie, this is crazy.
Jacqueline was shaking because her mom was saying these things to her. But I looked at them and I thought that couldn't be my mom saying that.
There's no way Mom would say this.
The wording was off. It wasn't how she would write something. And we knew it was my mom who was sending them.
Mom would never say this to us.
It was John.
Yeah, you've got to be right.
I could tell that he was dangerous, but at this time we only had suspicions, and it was so frustrating because we were perceived as the crazy ones.
We got to get him away from her.
We warned her so many times, and she was unable to see the red flags, and I knew this was going to happen.
John filled a void that I felt many other men had not filled. He made me feel like I was the only one. Every word was... But there was this Sunday where John and I were going to church, came home, walked in the front door. And there's this woman with wet hair, dressed all in white, reading this little Bible, drinking Ovaltine. She had all my clothes on. And I'm talking to her. How'd you get in my house?
What are you doing?
And she said, well, it's my house.
This is my home.
She looks very distraught. I thought she was mentally ill, a homeless woman that had wandered her way into her house. And John slammed her down on the kitchen counter. And John looks at me and he said, call the police.
Call the police? What?
Once the gal was gone, John immediately went into protective mode. He felt that we needed to get cameras to protect me. Cameras at the front door, the bedroom, down the hall, and towards the entry. John had set it up to where he could see me in his computer and also on his phone. At that point, I thought he didn't want anything to happen to me. He was protecting me. I just thought he cared a lot about me and my safety. I now look back and I feel that John probably knew the women, and it was a way to set up cameras in the house so that he could watch me.
John, please repeat after me. I, John,
Hi, John.
take Deborah
Take Deborah.
to be my wedded wife.
Wait.
It had been 2 months, and John was very persistent about wanting to get married. They kept saying, please, please, pleading with me. He said, what do you have to lose? We're going to be together the rest of our lives.
For better or worse,
Better or worse?
for richer or poorer.
Richer or poorer?
I was falling in love. At the same time, there was my gut that was telling me slow down. something's not quite right, but I was ignoring it because the feelings of falling in love are so much fun.
With this ring, I do wed, and you then, with all my love, I give to you. I give to you.
We had no idea that my mom had married John until way after the fact.
When I kept my marriage to John a secret is because I knew it would create a lot of problems with my kids, and I didn't want that.
By the power vested in me by the laws of the state of Nevada, I do pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. Oh my gosh.
Aww.
That was painful. I think that one of the reasons I stuck by John at certain times was because I had taken those vows. I still felt that that is the right thing to do, to honor your vows. When I look back now, I realize it was all a game to him. The whole thing was a lie. After John and I were married, he was the doting husband and things were great for a while. I felt like we were on honeymoon constantly. But what I realized with John is everything was orchestrated to literally have complete control. I got really creeped out when I'm driving to Vegas and he calls me.
Hi, John. Yeah, I just pulled over. What's up?
And he says, I see that you just passed Barstow.
Yeah.
I think you need to stop for gas and probably in Baker. And I'm like, okay. The cameras at the house felt normal, wanting to protect me in my environment. But he had also set up my iPhone to where he could sort of track where I was going. And I didn't realize he'd done my phone and the iPad and all that.
Okay, good idea. Thanks, honey. Bye, John.
And I'm thinking to myself, I don't like that he could just see me everywhere he is. That's just creepy. That's when I thought, there's a lot more to this that's going on. There were some odd things that he was doing. I'm looking at this camera thinking, what's going on? After the drive to Vegas, when he had seen me in Barstow and was telling me when to get gas, I was pretty much wondering, what in the world is he doing? Why is he watching? I thought I'm going to hook up to the camera so I can sort of see what's happening. There were some odd things that he was doing in the morning. He would leave in his scrubs. And 1 or 2 hours later, I had logged on to see what was happening. He would come back. He'd go upstairs, either lay down or play video games or, just hang out in the bedroom or in his office all day. And I'm looking at this camera thinking, you jerk. You've been lying to me. What's going on? So I go home and I confront him. I said, what's going on? You came home. How come? And he said, oh, they canceled. The woman had eaten something, so they couldn't do surgery, so they sent me home. Which is legit. Another time he said he wasn't feeling well, so they were able to get somebody else to cover him. His stories were so believable, to where he convinces you. He would say, why would I lie to you? What's there to lie about? He was very, very, very convincing. The first time I all of his prescription pills, I thought, wow. He had, I'm going to say, 9 different bottles of pills. And some were prescription antibiotics. He had pills for MS, pills for ADHD. He had Ambien, and he had a bunch of pain pills. I thought that was quite odd that someone has so many pills. And so I questioned him. I asked, wow, how come so many? He had told me that he was in Iraq. He worked for Doctor Without Borders. And one of the things that he did that he was telling me is he had jumped out of a helicopter and he was helping save lives, but he had lots of scars from jumping out of the helicopter. I never saw him completely out of it except one time. This time was a few months into the relationship, and I thought I would surprise him by coming home in the middle of the day.
John, is everything all right?
And he was completely out of it. And I realized he'd probably taken a bunch of pills that day. But when I asked John about he'd take a bunch of pills, John would always turn around if I questioned something. Why would I lie to you over this? I love you, you know? So he had a way of turning everything around to where you walk away going, okay, wow, well, I'm sorry. You know, I guess I shouldn't have read into it. It made me feel badly that I was questioning him.
Jacqueline told me that John uses Mom's car all the time. There's something about him. We wanted to know what John was up to. So Jacqueline put a tracker on the car that John was driving. We found out that he was going to doctor's offices for short periods of time. My theory on why John was going to all these different doctor offices was I thought that he could be a drug addict. He's wearing scrubs and he's pretending to be a doctor. I knew he was not who he said he was. We confronted my mom, and she didn't quite know what to do with this information, and she didn't know how to dissect it, whether or not we were making it up because it was our word against John's.
When John and I got married, we made vows, and I take those very seriously. I didn't want to feel like I was failing again. Sometimes you want to stick with it and get through the rough periods and know that better days are coming. I was his next victim. He's out of control, and there's nothing you can do about it.
This photo is of my mom and John holding it right in front of me. It makes me angry still because I don't think I was talking to my mom at this time. And he's wearing scrubs and he's pretending to be a doctor. But now that I'm looking at it so closely, I've never seen any of my doctors dressed like this. I don't want this one anymore. One day, Jacqueline came home and found John was sitting there waiting morning. I got text messages from her saying that she saw John and to look out for a certain car. This was the first time that we had evidence that John was stalking us. I later found out that he was stalking us quite frequently. Jacqueline was very frantic after she saw John, and she had warned me to carry pepper spray, keep my pocket knife on me that she knew I had, and to just be aware. He was stalking us, so we needed to prepare for anything that was going to come. I could see things that my mother couldn't because I was not in it. She was the target. and I was the person that he wanted to isolate. But it was so frustrating. My mom wouldn't believe me. It was so hard. She would believe John in anything he said. So Jacqueline had hired a private investigator and brought that information to me.
He seemed sketchy from the start, but this is insane.
It was scary.
Look at how many identities he's had.
John was using different social security cards. He had restraining orders on him.
He's been in and out of jail like a million times.
He had several arrests on his record. He had been to jail many times.
I can't believe how much dirt there is on this guy.
He was a con man, essentially. Having everything confirmed was very scary. I didn't want to be right, but everything was confirmed. And so this is game on time. We gotta prepare.
We have to get Mom away from him.
There was this one day, I go out to get the mail, and there was this letter, and it was addressed to John. But it was from the Orange County jail. And because I had my suspicions at this point, I opened it. It basically said, it sounds like you're doing great. Sounds like you found the one finally. And that life's really turned around for you. The way the guy worded it made me realize that John must have been in jail with him. And as I'm reading it, right at that moment, John grabs the letter out of my hand.
The hell do you think you're doing?
I said, what are you reading?
From prison? John, do you know that man?
What are you doing snooping around in my mail?
And he says to me, it's one of the guys that I send care packages to.
Well, I just don't understand why an inmate would be writing to you.
He said, I'm sending gift packets to men in jail. And he said, you know, a lot of people are in there for the wrong reasons, and I just care about people, and I think this makes a difference in their day.
What are you talking about? Who is he?
I asked him, were you in jail? And he looked at me and he said, I haven't spent one day in jail. What are you talking about?
Just because we're married doesn't mean I have to answer to you, and it definitely doesn't mean you can go around opening my mail.
And he said, you're committing a felony. And I said, what are you talking about?
I can have you arrested for this.
He wouldn't answer my question. And obviously at that point, I now know that this is not the man that I thought I married.
Stay out of my business, Deborah.
I'm realizing that he's been lying to me, but I didn't know the extent of who John was. It was definitely a turning point, and I needed to figure out what I was going to do. At this point, I thought I was his next victim, and he's out to get me. There were times, a few months after the marriage, that some things started happening that I noticed. Getting the cameras, the pills, the letter, I realized that John had a very suspicious side to him at that point. And yet I felt confronting him, I'm not going to get a straight answer. And so, as my suspicions grew, I decided to walk into John's office and look around and see what was there. I found different social security cards, just a lot of different names, other than just John Meehan. And in this trash can, there were 329 pages of a lawsuit. I started reading through them and realized John was not to be portrayed whatsoever. What I read was shocking. Extortion, stalking, him having a gun, restraining orders, drug abuse. There was one paper in particular that really caught my eye and really scared me. And it was showing evidence of a prior conviction of John being arrested and what they found in his place. He had knives, he had zip ties, and I thought, cyanide. This is crazy. What's he doing? What's he up to? The other thing that really scared me was I read document after document of women that he had strangled, victims out there that he was still harassing, women that changed their names because they're still in fear of him. And he had been in jail 3 days before I met him. He was so not the person that I thought he was. At this point, I thought I was his next victim, and he's out to get me. I knew I had to do something to get out safely. I hired a private investigator to help me figure John out and also how to get away very safely. I saw my kids in private and would pretend like I'm at work that day. I little by little tried to understand the mind of a sociopath predator. But John had the capability of killing me. So that's why I took preparation for months. You have to do it very carefully and very slowly. You can't do it overnight or they're going to figure it out. With John, I acted like nothing was wrong. I never reacted. I had to play his game and get to a point of being safe myself. So I was moving money around. I was changing my passwords, and there was $30,000 that I had put in the bottom of a lingerie drawer. That was cash for me running, and somehow John found it. One day I came home, and John was standing there, and he had the cash in his hand, and he showed it to me. He said, "What is this?" I'd been busted. John knew something was up. He didn't know what was up, but he knew something was up. I knew that I had to get out, and I rushed to leave. He stands in front of me, and I'm inches away from him, and he's pushing at me. And he kept saying, "Hit me, hit me." I realized at that point he had caught on. He knew what was happening, and I said, "I'm not going to hit you." He says, "Hit me because you'll never get up again." I said, "Move aside. I'm leaving you right now." I felt like my life was in danger, and all I could do was hurry as fast as I can to get out of there so that he couldn't do anything to me. And I just sort of ran to my car and took off as fast as I could. This picture I didn't see until way after the fact. I believe this was one of the times he was arrested. I'm going to say in 2013 when he went to jail. It's amazing that I actually thought I fell in love with a man that I thought was a good man. And knowing that I was in the same bed with him night after night and knowing what he was capable of is pretty crazy. He was going to bury me in the backyard. He couldn't wait to strangle me. "I will kill you and take everything you've ever had." The final straw was John had caught on. He saw how much money I'd taken out of an account. I think I had removed a good $30,000 that day. And he came to me and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm leaving you." And he said, "You can't do this. We're married. What kind of wife are you?" John was extremely mad at me. And he would send me very, very threatening text messages all the time. "You think I'm going to allow your family to continue? Feel sorry all you want. I don't care. I have pictures and emails. Don't test me." And he would put nude photos of me online, and some were a lot worse than this. Some were that "I will kill you and take everything you've ever had." He was going to bury me in the backyard. He couldn't wait to strangle me. When I started getting these texts, I was scared for my life, and I went into hiding. I actually went to a store and bought dark wigs, changed my clothes. I ended up staying in hotels. I had to change my whole routine. I remember shaking all the time, couldn't eat, and I had no idea what he was going to do. I was in hiding 8 months. Every time I got a text from him, my heart would just drop and I would be in a panic. There were thousands. Plan on waking up tomorrow. I mean, they went on and on and on. So that's why I was in constant fear. I would change phones and he would know how to call work and say, I'm a client. I need to get a hold of her. I don't know how. He would send me, boo, I found you. You can never hide from me. Like, the next corner you're going to turn, he's going to be there and kill you. One of them was, I hope you went to church today, because I have a really bad feeling about you. I didn't want to even leave my hotel room. I was afraid to even go down the hallway that he would grab me or have somebody grab me. You're in constant fear. It's horrifying. You don't know any way out. Couldn't think about anything else except trying to figure out where I'm going to hide next. I felt like it was almost easier to die than to keep living in this nightmare. This next one was pretty bad. No more being nice. This will turn an entire family inside out. You're selfish to allow this. You'll never forgive yourself for what I'm about to do. Well, I had no idea what he was going to do, but obviously I felt like he was definitely capable of killing me.
At the time, I was working as a dog groomer. One day at work, I get a phone call. It's very chaotic in the back because the dogs are barking because they want to get fed. And I take this call, and it's this French guy. The man said he had seen me before, and he wanted to bring his dogs in for grooming. I thought it was weird when a man called me with a French accent, but I was so preoccupied in trying to get these dogs fed, and when you're getting barked at for a meal, you would just want to get the person off the phone as soon as possible. So I give him my schedule as quickly as possible, and we book an appointment for the next day during my lunchtime where the dogs could come in and get groomed. I didn't realize it was John. He was trying to get my schedule. The following day, the time came where the dogs were supposed to come in to get groomed, and they were a no-show.
Newport Beach 911. Someone's been stabbed. I'm not really sure what happened. You just heard screaming.
I went to work on August 20th. I got the okay from there was a guy fiddling with a tire iron. My dog was barking at him, and I told my dog to knock it off because I thought it was a homeless guy just living in his car. I proceeded to get my dog out of the back seat. Then this guy grabbed me. I looked up at him, and he said, "Do you remember me?" I did remember him. It was John. He started what I thought was punching me, and he was punching me over and over again. I didn't realize I was stabbed. I just tried to push him off me, and I ended up on my back. I ended up stumbling backwards. And at this point, I see the knife, and I knew he was there to kill me. I kicked the knife, and it fell directly on my right-hand side. When it felt like that, I felt like it was from above. Like here, my guardian angels or God or my guides looking after me. It was just how it landed. It was meant for me to survive. I was meant to live. So I picked it up and I just started wailing on him, and I didn't give it a second thought. I thought that I was stabbing him in the chest. I later found out I stabbed him in the back. I stabbed him once in the forehead and I put it into his eye. He gasped and he started to fall on top of me. I pushed him off of me and he just was what I thought was dead. And then I tossed the knife as far as I could away. I scooted away from his body. I continued to scream for help. And then this lady walks up and she just started telling me that she's EMT trained and that she's trained for things like this.
Newport Beach 911. Someone's been stabbed and he attacked a girl. It's a girl and her dog, and then a guy is on the ground. I'm not really sure what happened. We just heard her screaming. Is he alive? Here. Yes, and the guy's just on the ground.
Then at that point, there was other people started coming to the scene. This guy came. He went over to John, and he started to check up on him and make sure that he was okay.
Please, do you have an emergency?
Yeah, we do. We got
stabbing. Well's not doing well.
Lori.
Okay, females there. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
I told them, not to touch him, but they wouldn't listen. And I told them that he tried to kill me, and I think I kept repeating that because they still were trying to revive the guy that tried to kill me. I was hysterical, and I couldn't breathe. And then I just realized I need to call my mom. So I called my mom and I told my mom, I'm so sorry, Mom. I think I killed your husband. I'm so sorry.
Getting that call and listening to Tara, it's so surreal. You're hearing your daughter call saying that she killed your husband, and you're like, what? What are you talking about? She said, I killed John. I'm so sorry. And I said, it's okay. Where are you? Are you okay? And all I remember is just rushing to get there. And you go through the guilt. Why wasn't it me? Why didn't he stab me? She's going to have to live with this. But I get there, and they won't let me go to her. They said, ma'am, it's been a crime scene. You have to stand behind the yellow tape. And Tara's yelling, Mom, Mom, and I'm yelling, Tara, Tara. And I'm seeing this ambulance drive by me, and I'm realizing John's in that ambulance. But I don't really know exactly what's happened, if he's alive, dead. I didn't know the story at that point.
I freaked out at that point because in the movies, the guy always gets up, and that's when the girl dies.
Please. Mom!
This is a picture of Cash and I in the hospital. I hate this photo so much because I remember the moment they were taking it, and I literally don't know what to do. Usually when someone takes a photo of you, you smile, you're happy. And in this moment, I felt like maybe I should smile. And I remember holding my arm and thinking, what's wrong with these people? They're literally taking a photo of blood gushing out of my arm and not putting stitches in it or anything yet. And they have to take the wear. And I just wish it would disappear. This is another hard one. When I went to the hospital, there was people that I didn't know that were touching me all over the place and poking me with needles. I just wanted my mom.
She's not here right now.
What?
Where is she?
But they told me that she went to the other hospital to see her husband.
Get my mom in here now, please. Mom! Mom!
And that really hurt me because just the way they said it, they didn't tell me that she needed to identify him. They made it seem like she wanted to be with him. And so that was so hard to hear that.
Mom! Please, Mom!
And I just wanted her to protect me. That was the hardest part. Was knowing that this guy came after me and then she's supposed to protect me and she can't.
They won't let me go to her. They said you need to identify the body at the other hospital because he's right now John Doe. He was on life support, tubes everywhere. They told me there were 13 stab wounds, but one had gone through his eye to his brain, and that he had had multiple strokes, and that he would be brain dead. When I looked at his body, I thought, what a waste of a human being. He was brilliant. He really could have had it all. The guy just wasted his life. This photo here is when John was in the hospital. I remember looking at where the stab wounds were and looking into his eye, where the stab wound went straight into his eye. And all I could think of is why? Why would he do something like this? How evil he was. And thank God it was him, not my daughter. I knew that there was a lot of healing that needed to take place at this point.
Oh my God. Tara.
It's okay, Mom. I'm all right.
The moment I got to see my daughter, I walked in there and just hugged her, and she cried, and I cried, and I was just grateful she was alive.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's not your fault.
When I saw my mom, I just had mixed feelings. I told her I knew this would happen because we warned her so many times, and she was unable to see the red flags.
I just never thought that he would do something like this.
Mom, seriously, it's not your fault.
But I was so grateful that she was there and that I was able to hug her and that we're all alive.
Can we go home now?
Yes, baby.
It was very, very, very difficult. I had no idea that he would go after her. I just didn't get it. Why not me? I decided I don't believe anyone should die alone. So when they pulled the plug, I mumbled a few words to John. It's okay to go. I forgive you. After John died, we went to the crematorium to cremate John's body. As I was watching the box go into the fire, I couldn't help but think that he was going to be burning in hell, and I filmed it so that I could have closure. I felt like Tara, if she had nightmares about him coming back, I wanted to prove to her he was completely gone and he would never come after her again. She's never seen it, but hopefully one day, if she ever questions or feels like John's here or whatever, I can show her that he's completely gone.
I thought because everybody else to be okay, that I should be okay. But I wasn't. And I had a lot of PTSD to deal with. And I did blame my mom for what happened to me after everything, because she did bring this guy into our life. I just wanted my mom to notice that there was red flags. And to know that this guy, I wanted her to learn why it happened to us.
I felt guilt right away. A lot of guilt because I didn't protect her. Why didn't you see the signs earlier? I just felt so responsible. But I have to keep reminding myself that John was the evil one and I was the one just looking for love.
I've told my mom that I have forgiven her. And, things may not be perfect, but we're working on it every day. But I still need to work on feeling safe. I still have some triggers from my PTSD, and I occasionally have bad dreams because of what I went through. But it was a blessing in disguise. I found a life purpose now to talk and share my story and help other women and men that have been through similar experiences. I've gotten more positive responses than anything, and people that told me that they've actually left their abuser or that they were able to fight back with the attacker. So it's really important to me to continue, and that's why I do it. Look out for red flags in relationships because they are there, and a lot of people brush them to the side, and it's time to take it serious because you can see what happened to me, and it could happen to you.
John Meehan is an evil man that preyed on innocent victims and got a thrill from it. I will never understand everything. I'll never understand John's brain, why he did what he did, and that's something I just have to accept. There's evil out there, and I just happened to be the victim of this evil man. And I survived, but a lot don't.